Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝗏𝙭𝗍𝗫. Good morning, India. And today we have a lot of developments to share with you. Let's welcome General Ravi Shankar. General sir, Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar and thanks a lot and good morning, India. I'll say good evening to USA also, right?
Good evening.
Okay. While he has said, welcome to PGurus channel. This is a joint podcast between Ganashot and PGurus. So I'd request all of you at the outset to like this video and share with all your friends both and subscribe both channels. That's something which I want to put out in the beginning. And today we're going to have a long session because a lot of developments have taken place in the last 24 hours. From yesterday's update to today's update, things have, I wouldn't say changed, but they've gone up a notch. And earlier in the day, 𝙒𝙖𝙦𝙦 has put out his own solo assessment of this whole thing. Am I right? You put it out.
Yes.
How I came to know is because my wife was seriously watching what he was talking, and I was listening to it on the, from one corner of the eye as I was preparing for this presentation, and I picked up a few points from him. Thanks a lot. I must tell you that. Right,
thank you, sir.
So we're going to have an informed discussion. It's going to be a discussion come presentation. It might cross 1 hour plus because I couldn't stop adding, relevant items in. And at the end, we have to do an analysis as to where this whole story is going.
Yes.
That's the Trump way of war. So that's how I want to start. So you have any opening thing and then we'll get going.
Yeah, I do have a small opening. Viewers, Trump is calling the bluff of Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. If I remember correctly, and I didn't have a chance to double check it, if I remember correctly, during the first Persian Gulf War, Saddam Hussein tried to do the same thing. And what America did was they basically started acting like escorts. There'll be a naval ship that will escort the fleet of ships that will go through the Hormuz Straits, and nothing happened. And now what happened was, today the Hormuz Strait was closed except for 2 countries, Russia and China. That's what Iran said. Then this is on top of the banks and the insurance companies in England refusing to underwrite the insurance for many of these tankers. Are these two in cahoots? That's a question that I'm going to leave open for now. We might find the answer to this. But Trump did something interesting. He said, I'm going to find the funding for you to underwrite your tankers and I'm going to escort you. And that's where things stand right now. This is 33 kilometers wide. Somewhere I might have said 21 kilometers. It was 21 miles, which is 33 kilometers. 33 kilometers is not easy to block. And 15 naval ships have been already sunk, 13 known and 2 submarines. So Iran has taken a fair amount of beating in its navy. Bandar Abbas also has been disabled to some extent. That's a port. And on the one side is all that. On the other side is Oman and UAE. So they're not going to just watch. So this is where things stand. Over to you, sir. I know you have a different perspective on a lot of other things also. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me put certain things up front. Everything is murky at this point of time. Let me put it up front to everyone. Are the tactical outcomes clear? They're not clear. Are the strategic outcomes clear? They're murkier than when it started. Let me put my neck on the chopping block. We are getting into a situation of extreme instability in the Middle East. Don't look at it at the short term, look at it at the long term. The short term is the incidents which are happening, which will be part of the update. But the long term is more important. And that's where I'm worried. Right? I've had my own discussion internally with some of my friends. And yesterday we did a podcast on Iran fighting back with some real experts who, including Ambassador 𝗏𝙗𝗙𝗏𝗏, who was our ambassador in that area, General Atta Hasnain, who's written extensively on political Islam, and General 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. And what came out of that is, well, America might win the war or the battle. It might not win the peace. Right? And that, let me tell you, is going to be our discussion tomorrow in 3 Good Generals. I'm setting the stage for tomorrow, 𝗏𝙗𝗙𝗏𝗏.
Yes, sir.
right? Will America win? America might win the war, but it might lose the peace. Okay, and that we'll discuss tomorrow. But the understanding of what we're going to do tomorrow will come from what's happening today. Let's get going with the presentation.
Yeah, is it the first one? Okay, day
Yeah,
update,
yeah,
day
the
4 update.
presentation, not the clips. The first one, yeah. So this is it. We're going to discuss today two things: Trump's new war plan. Okay, it's not a new war plan. It's his way of fighting. Okay, and then I'll go over the day 4 update. What happened yesterday? Yesterday was day 4. Today is day 5, Indian Standard Time. What happened? The first thing, like yesterday I did the updates. Let's see what the headlines across the world say. What does New York Times say? US closes 2 Gulf embassies. Iran seizes sites in Lebanon. So there's something happening. Iran has had to step into Lebanon. Okay, and we'll right. Uh, okay. Uh, Next, this is it. These are the embassies which are closed, and this is the airspace which is closed. And here they've closed. The red ones are the embassies which are closed. In this area, Americans have been advised to leave, and this is a fully closed airspace. So you'll see international traffic going north across Central Asia and south, into Africa and going. So it's going to be costly airfares, everything. And remember, those aircraft which are going on the north, they also have to avoid the Russia-Ukraine airspace. So things are tight. It's just not Strait of Hormoz, everything. The international travel is affected. So you'll see a lot of people shifting to the east, right? Eastern routes. So if you actually go into flight radar or any of this flight aware and things like that, you'll see this manifestation. It has got implications for everyone's travel, everything, and business, yeah, all that. And then what does Washington Post say? It also echoes US closes 2 Gulf embassies as Iran strikes, widens its strikes. So there is something which is happening which you have to understand. While USA is saying that we are hitting Iran, yeah, all that, there's something else happening. Okay. Today morning, this was yesterday evening's New York Times. Today morning, as before I started this, it says Trump strike killed Iranian, US law saw as new leaders, yeah, all that. There is, this thing that, he was put through, or the US lawmakers were given a briefing about what happened and all that. Where Trump and his team have said, no, it's not Israel who has led us into this war. We have done it on our own. Okay. And then there's this snippet which says Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son emerges as the leading choice to be his successor. Okay. We'll talk of that. Right. And look at this analysis. I would suggest many of you to read this analysis. Is it Iran's strategy expand the war, increase the cost, outlast Trump? And we'll talk of it. This is interesting actually. It's not as if Iran doesn't have a strategy. Iran has a clear strategy, and I'll talk of it. Washington Post today morning identifies 4 soldiers killed in Iran conflict. What is the implication of this? Body bags. Can US accept body bags? Okay, pictures of their near and dear ones being killed. And in some manner, the US system has started responding. Okay, we've had briefings by Trump, briefings by Rubio, and briefing by Admiral Bradley Cooper, who's the CENTCOM commander. You look at Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is highlighting US embassy in Dubai is hit. Israel pounds Iran, Lebanon, and they're talking of how Israel is also doing everything. Okay, so things are this other side. Look at what China is thinking. China is looking at China's war on corruption. Is this the end or just the beginning? Everything about Iran war is second grade to them. So there's something else happening in China. Please understand that. That's why these days get 4 of these headlines in. Okay, China is virtually declassed from this war because of its own internal problems. Please understand this. This is critical to understanding where this war is going. Everyone who thinks China is going to come like an angel, fall in like a paratrooper, no, it's embroiled in its own problems. We'll touch on all these as we go along. Look, this is the kind of action which has been happening over the past 24 hours. All these red circles, big circles, small circles, blue, see where all attacks have taken place, major attacks, minor attacks, and everything. And of course, Israel is also being hit. Lebanon is being hit. Everything is, there are a lot of action happening. But please understand, 4 days of shelling on Iran, and Iran has been hit badly. We'll see that. The Iranian people are still not on the streets. The regime has not fallen. We can talk what we want, right? The regime has not fallen. Just keep this at the back of your mind, because this is something we started off, or Trump started off. I wouldn't say we. I'm not part of the show. Trump started off by saying we're going to do regime change. It has not happened. What has happened? Mojtaba Hossein Khamenei, right? Whose Khamenei's son is now going to lead the IRGC, or rather the Supreme Council, whatever it is. He was part of the IRGC once upon a time. He was part of the Basij once upon a time. So this chap might be more lethal than Ali Khamenei to start with. But he's the head today. Now, will he get wiped out? That's to be seen. Okay? We'll touch on that also. Okay. These are the things which have happened. All these places in blue have been hit. Of course, Iran has been hit. Militias in Iraq are active. Hezbollah has started active. And all these places which are in blue, Israel, Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia, except Yemen, which is Houthi land, part of the Iran proxies, everyone has been hit by Iran. Okay, where do we go? What is the story so far? If I put it in a nutshell, the military part of it. US and Israeli air forces have achieved complete air control over Iran after 4 days. Okay. Second, Iran has expanded its missile and drone strikes into Saudi Arabia, and it has started targeting the Ras Tanura refinery. Will it attack the other refineries? We'll have to see. Iranian forces have continued to strike US bases and embassies in Iraq, Kuwait, and Riyadh. That I showed you the thing earlier. Hezbollah has entered the conflict in Lebanon. Okay, and there are retaliatory airstrikes by Israel, and the Israel ground troops have also entered into Lebanon. Okay, US and Israeli strikes have expanded far beyond Tehran to Tabriz, Natanz, Bandar Abbas, Konarak. I've just put a few. It's across the board. And 3 fighter jets. I put it as F-16. They're not F-16, they're F-15s, which have been shot down accidentally, fratricidal fire. In war, all these things happen. Remember back to the time when we went into Balakot and things were hot and we lost 1 helicopter due to friendly fire. This is not a thing. Luckily, in this case, none of them have been killed. The pilots have surfaced out. Okay, this is important. The last point here is very important. Shia populations in Iraq and Bahrain have launched protests around US embassies. And this is going to become a serious thing as we go along. The Shia-Sunni divide. Iran, instigating the Shia populations across the world to come up. I put only here Iraq and Bahrain, but equal reactions are on in Pakistan. And today evening I'm going to do a show on what's happening in what's happening in Pakistan and China related to the Iran war. Okay, then the Iranians have not been quiet. Look at what their spokesman has said. He said each commander has 3 designated successors, and we will not face a leadership vacuum. If commanders are killed, you can knock down one, like the head of a serpent, another chap will come up. And he said the enemy believed that assassinating our leader at the start of the imposed war could cause a collapse. That was a miscalculation, and that is being seen. Okay, already, and 2 waves of Iranian leaders have been knocked off, but the strikes are continuing. This time, this is something which I've been telling for the past 2 days. The Iranians, after the last war, the 12-day war in May, are prepared for this. They have trained for this. They're operating in isolated, segregated packets, which I'll talk of. Right. Just before I got onto this is what happened. An Iranian ballistic missile has struck the largest US military base. This is from CNN, 𝗒𝙘𝗙𝗦, Qatar. We don't know how much casualties and all. So resistance from Iran is continuing. It's not dying off. Bahrain. Now, Bahrain is virtually in a revolution. Remember, Bahrain went through some revolution during, the Arab Spring. Bahrain is the worst of the lot because Bahrain has got a Shia majority, Sunni heads. So there will be an issue here. Of course, Iraq is also there. Now, you might say Saudi Arabia is not in the game, but Saudi Arabian troops have gone to Bahrain to quell the situation there. And if Bahrain goes down, or any one of these Gulf countries goes down, the shape of this conflict will change. And this will become something like clash of civilization, Sunni Shia divide. It will take a different turn. And that is Iran's strategy. How do you make US a foreigner in this area and unwanted in this area by the people? That's the macro strategy of Iran. Okay? Of course, John Spencer says Hezbollah has entered the war. We know that. Thing. I would also like to tell you, I can talk all this without thinking, but I'm showing you proof. Why am I showing you proof? In the age of AI and so much misinformation coming up, I am showing you, where a person has shown a news and someone has commented on it, and then we are picking it up as a thing. So everything here, what I'm showing is double-checked and authentic. Right, and I would like you to comment on this aspect, 𝗟𝗍𝗔, before we go ahead, as to why our channel is absolutely authentic. Your view on this.
Thank you so much, sir. We are not taking side viewers, and we also double and triple check, and we always publish reference links. In this case, the PPT itself is a reference link because you can see which magazine we are quoting from or which TV channel we are quoting from. And we do the same thing on PGurus also. And the idea here is to give you the truth. A lot of AI channels are active right now, and they all have realistic faces doing realistic stuff. And it all looks like what they're speaking is the truth. You need to go with your gut. Anybody who's not AI will make some mistakes, and that's natural. That's how you know that it's not an artificial intelligence channel. Anyway, so this here, right now, what is happening is there is an asymmetric war already in play. That is, to get down or to pull down the missiles or the drones of Iran, both the US and Israel are spending an enormous amount of money. They need to figure out a lower cost way to bring down these missiles. I don't know if it's possible. I'll ask you that question.
No, costs don't matter in this. This economist way or the financial way of looking at war is over. Nothing's going to happen. You have a threat developing, you have to bring that threat down. You're not going to sit down with a baikata and say, "Hey, yaar, wo $50 ka hai, main $100 ka missile maar raha hu." That time is over. You're going to do with whatever you have and the best fit. That threat has to be destroyed. This thing, which everyone says, "Oh, drone will be $50, my missile will be $200. Look, if I'll not fire the missile, I'll fire a catapult. Forget it. If you don't get that drone down, he'll get something more out. Your carrier will go down or something like that will go down. The costs will be huge. It's not a cost, it's the operational cost which matters here. So this nonsense which is being spoken of, I'm calling it nonsense as a military man. I'm not going to wait some chap who comes with a rifle to not a knife to stab me to wait. No. The knife is only $5, so I should get a $5 counter against him. If I have a bazooka which costs 200 million, I'll kill him. and then talk. Because otherwise you'll take my life, which is priceless for me. As simple as that. So we'll not talk of cost anymore. Cost is something now others will think of. Okay, right. Hezbollah has issued a warning. Why? What is this? Why is this important? Hezbollah has warned Lebanon government, if you curtail our activities, we are going to destabilize Lebanon. Southern Lebanon will go into a problem if Hezbollah is constrained. And that is why Israel has gone into Lebanon. Please understand. Now, we spoke of Bahrain a little while earlier, now Lebanon also. You just think, and if Syria also gets into some kind of a problem, you think the connection between all of these. Iraq anyway is in a problem. Okay, to understand this, I'll go to this. Just think, Iraq is in a problem, right? Bahrain will be in a problem. You look at the connection, is Lebanon in a problem? And if Iraq is a cut, Iraq, this is Iraq. And if this also goes into a problem, you're going to have a Shia problem here, backed by Iran. So please understand what is happening. Don't look at it just from the missiles which are going left, right, and center. Right? My updates are a little in depth. What is Iran's strategy? Have we understood Iran's strategy so far? Everyone is talking, oh, Iran will do this, Iran will do that. That's why I listed it out. Iran's strategy is regime change versus regime survival. USA is trying regime change, he's trying regime survival. And he's planned this regime survival tactic out. He's going to wear down the whole lot. So far, for the past 4-5 years, I've been saying talks with Iran, talks with Iran, talks with Iran. He accepts something, he doesn't accept something, he's pulling it out. In Telugu, those of you who understand Telugu, and I'm sure 𝗏𝗏 will translate it for the rest. 𝗏𝗏𝗙𝗘𝗦. 𝗏𝗏𝗙𝗘𝗦 is stretching it out.
Stretching it, yes.
Yeah. Okay, he's stretching. And he's going to stretch even now. That's the thing. Iran's strategy, a strategy of stretching to ensure regime survival. And they've got 3 to 4 tiers. Now, here you're looking at US-Israel forces have a full spectrum capability. Possess a capability which is restricted to missiles and drone and religion. Iran has weaponized religion. Please understand that. A very powerful weapon, which is probably not counted, not understood by people. This is the fight of a cornered cat. He is isolated. He's got nothing. He has to hit out. And he's 3 tiers deep, as said earlier. He wants to degrade US and military assets. Remember, for Iran, degradation of US and military assets, it's a victory. It shows Iran, it shows US and Israel in a poor light. Whereas for USA, you can pound Iran. Okay, you can strip a beggar of his clothes, but he's a beggar. It doesn't matter. He's got nothing to lose. And I think here, USA has played itself into Iran's hands. You are fighting with a guy who's got nothing to lose. You have a lot to lose. Please understand this major thing. That's why I said USA might be winning the war and losing the peace. Right. Now he's imposing economic costs on the Gulf countries for supporting USA. The economic costs are on others. It's not just for USA and Israel. Iran is forcing people to go against their governments using the Shia card, the Shia-Sunni divides. We've seen this in Iraq and Bahrain. I've spoken to you all earlier. Lebanon, Pakistan. Pakistan's problem is severe, which I'm going to discuss in the evening. He's already blocked the Strait of Hormoz to create a global turmoil. Your energy markets, normal financial markets, everyone is in a panic. Panic. Chaos theory. I've been talking of this chaos theory for the past 3 days. He's playing his proxies. Everyone thought proxies are dead and gone. Ideology can't be killed. You can kill, it's like an amoeba. You can constrict an amoeba, but it will expand. Hezbollah, Houthis, militias in Iraq, they're working. They've already attacked, I think, the American base in Erbil. Erbil is in Iraq. He is fighting a disaggregated battle. Who's in charge? But he's fighting. That is why at times it appears that he's fighting the wrong targets. He's hit Cyprus also, the British base. In a way, it is like 10 sub-commanders fighting their own battles independently. And they're good at it. They might not have communications internally. Each fellow is told, okay, this is your task, carry on. So whom do you kill? How do you stop this story? And you can not stop this story unless you put boots on ground. And I don't think America or Israel will put boots on ground. And if they put boots on ground, that will be the costliest mistake. I'm giving you an update come analysis, right? So that don't think things will, are going, because this, like I said, is going to be indeterminate, long and nasty and murky. This is the latest put out by CSIS. A lot of Iranian missile capabilities. These are the new ones. Ahmad, Sejal, all this. Gadar. These are the new missiles which have not yet been used. Some might have been used, but I don't have anything that some are being used or not used. These lower ones have been used. The older ones have been used. Earlier, I did show all of you a clip where one of the Iranian commanders and said, look, we also have a hell of a lot to come up with. What we are using is all the old stockpile. You can shoot them down. But what can you do with others? How can there's no defense today by anyone against the hypersonic. They've not launched their hypersonic so far, or their ballistic missiles. How much can you hit them? Right. Then, of course, Iran has a problem with the Chinese systems. The Chinese systems have let them down completely. Okay. And we've spoken of it and everything. Okay. Just early in the morning when I was just woke up, this came out. Israel has hit a building where 88 members of the council were holding ballots to choose the next Iranian supreme leader. Okay, and they've chosen Mujtaba. I don't know whether he's alive or not, whether he was part of this or not. But they also say that not all members were present. Some voting count was taking place. So the first rung got killed when Khamenei was hit. I think 46 was the count. I remember Priya talking of it. Yeah, 46 was it? And
48, I think, but yeah, close enough.
Okay, 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. So now we're looking at 88. This first rung and the second rung are out. So think of Pakistan. Think of USA. They put Iran in a position when there's no leadership. Whom will they talk to? There's no leadership.
Pezeshkian is still alive, sir. Luckily, Pezeshkian is still alive.
Yeah. Pezeshkian alive, Mujtaba is alive. Let us see where it goes. But Pezeshkian doesn't have that political pull unless he's put there. We'll see how it goes. I will talk of that. We'll talk of that also. Okay, so you are seeing something happening. And a little earlier, IDF has destroyed a nuclear site, a new nuclear site called Mina Zidai, just on the outskirts of Tehran. And IDF has also gone after the ballistic missile launchers. Look at the strategy. Iran might have n number of missiles, but if you take out the launcher, enough, end of story. After that missile is a danda. As simple as that. I mean, ask a gunner. I know this. How I'm a guy who's actually handled some of these equipment in India when I was a GOC of the artillery division. I commanded an artillery division. For those of you who don't understand what an artillery division is, I had a unit of BrahMos and all that. For me, the most prized possession was a launcher. I had to hide the launchers. Okay, the launchers were all or hidden or in sand dunes. Okay, in all my exercises and all, or they were on the move. As simple as that. No launcher which was stationary was exposed. And here I see pictures in line where they're being hit. And this by Jerusalem Post. So there is a fair degradation of Iran which has happened. So how long will they last? That's the next question. And after that, what? After that, what? That's the next question. Right? 2 hours back, there were American B-2 Spirit bombers targeting IRGC command centers and control nodes and all over again. Very heavy bombardment. Right. Donald Trump has put out truth on his Truth Social. What does he say? United States munitions stockpiles have at the medium and upper medium grade never been higher or better. Medium and upper medium grade, that's the complicated ones. As was stated to me today, we have a virtually unlimited supply for these weapons. Wars can be fought forever and very successfully using just these supplies, which are better than other countries' finest arms. At the highest end, we have a good supply, but are not where we want to be. Much additional high-grade weaponry is stored for us in outlying countries. Very simply put, he says, I am not bothered. And yesterday, link it up with what Dan Kane said yesterday. He said we can sustain this war and we can scale up. Now his president is saying the same thing. Yeah, at the highest end, he says, I don't have as much as I wanted, but they're lying somewhere else, he'll pick it up. So when you see bigger carriers shifting ammunition from one theater to another, then you know that America is short. But so far, no indications. So don't fall for those, news outlets which say America has 4 days of ammunition left, all that. That's nonsense. A country which has such a mighty, armed force won't run short of ammunition and go in for this, won't start a war with lesser ammunition. So don't worry about it. Okay. And last line, he said the US is stocked and ready to win big. Important. Then I want you all to listen to what Rubio has said today morning. And this clip, what I would say is, if you cannot hear the clip, let me know. I have another alternate clip I'll put it. Okay. Yeah.
Listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English. Okay, Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these.
Yeah, so, the American administration is going all out to establish that Iran was a threat to the world, or Iran was a threat to the free world, or Iran was a threat to America and its allies, and its lunatic XYZ. Okay, right. Next.
Let me explain.
And he also went on to say in part of the story, if we didn't hit Iran now, a year from now, no one would be able to touch them and they could do whatever they want. This is paradoxical. Last year, in May, you carried out Midnight Hammer and said that nuclear capability is gone. Suddenly you come out now and say this. So obviously that was a failure, and it didn't achieve its end objectives. And today you are coming out and saying, I'm doing all this to rid Iran of its nuclear capability. So, can they do it without boots on ground? That's a question which keeps coming up. Okay, you can put a regime today. What happens? There's a counter revolution tomorrow. When you're hands off, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, another Ayatollah comes up. Then what happens? Remember, we're talking of a polarized nation, a nation which is indoctrinated. Where? Let me give you. You can quote me. Where sacrifice is worship. Remember the Shias? Shahadat. Yes, sacrifice is worship. So will your missiles work against that guy who's prepared to die? Right? So, okay. Now let's have talk of what Trump said in the morning. Right? It's important to know because he's a supreme commander. He started into his war. So what has he said?
They have no Navy. It's been knocked out. They have no Air Force. It's been knocked out. They have no air detection. That's been knocked out. Their radar has been knocked out. And just about everything's been knocked out. They're going to be in for a lot of hurt. These are bad people. These are people they killed. I guess it's 35,000. It's coming out 35,000 over the last 3 weeks. Protesters, 35,000 violently killed. So these are bad people. And the leader of the pack is gone. And as you know, 49 people were taken out in the first hit. And I guess there was another hit today on the new leadership. And it looks like that was pretty substantial also.
So look, he's changing his tactics. Earlier, there were not 35,000 people who were killed. Today, suddenly the numbers have gone up. Now, you're looking at a president who's manipulating figures and quoting figures off the cuff. We know that. We know that from the fact that he started off with 4 aircraft in the Indo-Pak war and then, went to 7, then to 11, now at nowhere. Yeah, please, sir, your views.
Sir, if you watch what he just said, right? Even a third grader, 8-year-old kid can understand. The lines are so crisp. It's done. This is over. This is this. This is that. And this is what got him elected. I'm trying to tell our viewers what makes Trump tick. Look at his messaging. Minimum words, maximum effort. Minimum effort, maximum effect. Over to you.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. So you have to understand what the whole story is, how it's going on, how it's playing out.
They have no Navy. It's been
right. The next thing, this is an even more interesting clip.
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. But we have, Venezuela was so incredible because we did the attack and we kept government totally intact. And we have 𝙒𝙬𝙤, who's been very good. We have the whole chain of command and they've been, the relationship's been great. We've taken out.
So look at it. He's very clearly said we took the first lot out, the second lot out. Now I don't know whom to deal with. He himself is admitting it. Then he switched to Venezuela and said, in Venezuela I did this. I had 𝙒𝙬𝙤 who I could put. In Venezuela it was a completely different ball game. Here is a completely different ball game. Now who is going to come into the chair? And if that chap comes into the chair, let me put a thing. This is my view. Israel is playing its own game here. US might put someone in position that Israel might knock out without knowing. Because Israel, in my way, the problem between Israel and Iran goes back to 1979 when Ayatollah came into the story. Ayatollah Khomeini. Right? So there is deep-suited. And why is it deep-seated, deep-rooted? Very simply, Iran wants to obliterate Israel. Existential crisis. Israel wants to give it back to them. And this is a very deep enmity. Can USA preside over this? Can USA preside over a country which has said death to America and all that? So this is a very difficult thing beyond the military. I'm trying to show it all these as this thing. Yeah. And then the White House has put out this, I think yesterday morning or today morning. They're talking of destroy the missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. Annihilate the Navy. Regimes, terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region. Knock them out. Ensure that. And so that their roadside bombs, IEDs and all cannot be used. Ensure that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. Okay. Then, of course, the bottom line, President Trump should be commended for killing terrorists and finally having the courage to do what American President so the self has come in. All these things, please understand. This is the official thing coming from USA. See the macro issue. Then, of course, what 𝗏𝙭𝙬 was talking earlier. Trump has said very clearly that we will open the Hormoz, Strait of Hormoz, and give convoy protection. They'll convoy ships through. And of course, he's also spoken that Truth Social, he said out that, insurance also will be provided by someone in USA. So they have a plan. The Americans have a clear plan and they're reacting to what's happening. But the immediate military, everything fine. But the long one, we don't see. Then, of course, Steve Witkoff comes up with this statement. Right? And I think this is playing very heavily in the minds of Trump and his team. He says, in the first meeting, both Iranian negotiators said to us directly, with no shame, that they controlled 460 grams of 60% enriched uranium. And they are aware that they could make 11 nuclear bombs. I mean, this is what has put the skids under USA. Where are these 460 kilograms of enriched uranium at 60%? If that is somewhere, I don't know whether it's part of the 𝗏𝗏𝙬𝙤 which Israel has hit. It's there. I don't know. We don't know. No one knows. But the Iranian negotiators have told the Americans, look, we have this. We can make 11 dirty bombs even today. And sometime last week it came out, or 3 days back it came out, that within 24 hours we can get a bomb online, or 1 week. I mean, the thing varies. But the threat is there. The larger threat is there. So how do you ensure that this is not taken away? Regime change, will it lead to that? I don't see. I mean, my fundamental way of thinking, you have to put boots on ground. Those boots on ground can be after a regime change, then UN, US, wo jo bhi hai. But the UN mandate is not there for this war. So why will the UN send troops to it? And no one has paid up the UN. There are reports that the UN might collapse financially after a month or so. Then why will UN send anyone? Then in which case, who will US send? Who will accept it there? The people have to accept any verification done on ground. So there are a whole lot of issues in this ball game. Okay. Then, of course, the White House is put out very, this was yesterday. Destroy, same thing, same story. Iranian regime's missiles, Navy, all that. They're putting it out from multiple sources. And this is very interesting. This clip is very interesting. Okay, this is Admiral Bradley Cooper. He has given a overview of all the operations which have been done. This is about 4 minutes long. Watch it. 𝗏𝙭𝙬, again, give me a thumbs up to know whether this is, you can hear it. Otherwise, I'll have to get this clip from wherever.
Sure.
Today, I'd like to give you an operational update on where we are and provide you with some key facts. By order of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, our military in the Middle East is undertaking an unprecedented operation to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans, as they've been doing for nearly half a century. Having spent more than 36 years in the military, I could not be prouder of America's sons and daughters in uniform who are answering the call. More than 50,000 troops, 200 fighters, 2 aircraft carriers, and bombers from the United States are participating in this operation, and more capability is on the way. These forces bring a massive amount of firepower, representing the largest buildup by the U.S. in the Middle East in a generation. In the opening hours of Operation Epic Fury, U.S. Central Command forces, together with Israel, delivered overwhelming and unprecedented strikes into Iran. Many of you may remember the shock and awe strikes of 2003. The first 24 hours of this operation were nearly double the scale, and we continue with 24/7 strikes into Iran from seabed to space and cyberspace. Now, we're less than 100 hours into this operation, and we've already struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions. We have severely degraded Iran's air defenses and destroyed hundreds of Iran's ballistic missiles, launchers, and drones. And in simple terms, we're focused on shooting all the things that can shoot at us. Our B-2 bombers and B-1 bombers have executed uncontested surgical strikes against multiple missile facilities deep inside Iran. And then just last night, a B-52 bomber force struck ballistic missile and command and control posts. We are also sinking the Iranian Navy, the entire Navy. Thus far, we've destroyed 17 Iranian ships, including the most operational Iranian submarine that now has a hole in its side. For decades, the Iranian regime has harassed international shipping. Today, there's not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, or Gulf of Oman, and we will not stop. We will continue to conduct dynamic targeting operations. We're hunting Iran's last remaining mobile ballistic missile launchers to eliminate what I would characterize as their lingering launch capability. Now, in retaliation, the Iranian regime has launched over 500 ballistic missiles and over 2,000 drones. To be clear, Iran is indiscriminately targeting civilians as they launch these missiles and drones. You've seen it on TV. The evidence is crystal clear and overwhelming. Having said this, we are seeing Iran's ability to hit us and our partners is declining, while our combat power, on the other hand, is building. And my overall operational assessment is that we are ahead of our game plan.
So this is important to understand. Overall, the Iranian military capability is declining. This is an assessment, and his own is increasing. The military mismatch will only widen. I have no doubt in the next 3-4 days, Iran might not have anything left to fire back. If not 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. There will be complete domination, military domination, except an odd missile or something. What next after that is a question you don't see coming from USA. But let's go through it. Let's understand the whole story.
Along the way, every single branch of our military is achieving unprecedented success. I'll talk about just a few of them. Our naval forces have deployed multiple waves of cruise missiles, obliterating Iranian command and control and air defense capabilities. From 2 aircraft carrier strike groups, we're squeezing Iran from the sea and have them backed into their own ports. U.S. air forces are doing what they do best, executing a high volume of airstrikes right into Iran. Operationally, the 2 most powerful air forces in the world, the U.S. and Israel, are dominating the skies of the world's largest state sponsor of terror. Our U.S. Army soldiers are defending ourselves and our partners, and in a historic first, the U.S. Army fired long-range precision strike missiles called PrSMs in combat, providing an unrivaled deep strike capability. Also, for the first time, U.S. Central Command's drone task force, called Task Force Scorpion Strike, launched countless one-way attack drones, achieving massive effects. I'd like to point out these drones were originally an Iranian design. We took them back to America, made them better, and fired them right back at Iran. I just could not be prouder of our men and women in uniform, leveraging innovation to create dilemmas for the enemy. There is no adversary too determined, no mission too difficult for the great soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians, and Coast Guardsmen that make up the most powerful military the world has ever seen. Our military objectives are crystal clear, and our people are executing an immensely complex and historic mission with relentless lethality, conviction, and professionalism. And we've just begun. But I have the utmost confidence that we, alongside our partners, will absolutely achieve our military objectives. To all our warriors, Godspeed. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so it's a very detailed briefing. Look at it, what I've shown today. From Marco Rubio to President Trump to Admiral Bradley Cooper, right, who is in charge of Central Command, right? There's a consistency in their communication and all that. They're trying to justify, whatever has happened and all that. There's no justification needed. But yet they're doing it. The military part of the story, I'm very clear. It is the non-military part of the story which is not clear and which has been admitted by Trump himself, right? And there is certain. Can we get back to the slides, please? Because there is.
Sure.
I'm sorry, it's a longish kind of a thing. There's skepticism within the U.S. itself, within the Congress, within the Republicans, within the people. Now, they gave an internal briefing, and this is the thing, and a lot of others have also put this from Fox News. Senate Minority Leader Schumer. I mean, I'm sure he'll be more familiar. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I left the intelligence briefing more concerned and reassured. If the case for war were strong, it would be inconsistent. Instead, the rationales change by the hour. Regime change, nuclear weapons, missiles, defense, preemptive. Which is it? When the justification keeps shifting, a strategy is missing. There is no strategy. That's his view. And this is his view. This is a view echoed by many others, Democratic and some Republican also. And I dare say, even I share that view. What is the objective? End objective. But that's the Trump way, and we'll talk of it. Like I said, today is going to be a long session, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, because now after all this, I'm going to do the analysis of the Trump way. Fox has gone and said we control the entire world market. We've kicked out Russia and China from the Middle East. If this is a successful mission, this is what you call a checkmate. They're already gone to town and saying that Russia and China are out of the equation. Yeah, to the large extent, yes, but why are they gloating about it? Okay. Now, interestingly, France is coming into the equation somewhere. France was against this whole story. There was some kit-bit between USA and France 2 days back. There's some kit-bit between USA and EU. There's some kit-bit between USA and UK. In fact, Trump has publicly gone and said UK is not coming in, I don't need them, all that. Now, France has said we have defense agreements with Qatar, Kuwait and the UAE. We must stand by their side. I have decided to send a warship to Cyprus for protection. I have given the order to send the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle and its accompanying force to the Mediterranean. So, in terms of force, Iran is outmatched. Why is France important in this thing? Let me put it. Where was Ayatollah Khomeini?
France.
France has this great connect somewhere. So they've now come into the picture. And I'll be interested to see the role France plays going ahead. Remember, the Francophone countries are all Muslim countries. Algeria, all those, Tunisia, all those Francophone countries. The Central African Sahel region. There's some connect somewhere or the other to Iran. So, this is an interesting development. Let's see how it goes through. Okay. Then, of course, China. China is putting out all kinds of AI. This is if you go into this site and see, they put out where Abraham Lincoln has been bombed and shot out. So, those of you who are, and why is China doing it? The thing you have to understand, why is China doing it? All of us know China is doing this propaganda. We don't believe it. But China is doing it internally to show to Chinese people that America is losing and we are gaining strength. Please understand this thing. China is doing it internally to convince its own people that they are gaining strength as America is losing. And they are showing all these videos to their own people. There's internal propaganda going on there because China is at risk internally. Okay, and I'll talk of it more in the evening. Pakistanis, they are completely upset at their own establishment. Please understand that, after all, who nominated Trump for the Nobel Prize? Okay.
I thought he's renominated him for the next year also.
For the next year, yeah. So Pakistanis are upset. Pakistanis have a lot of Shias. So Pakistanis are upset. So we're going to see interesting things in Pakistan. I will talk of it. I'm going to. I'll analyze it in the evening separately. Markets are in a free fall. European markets are in a free fall. This was yesterday. I don't know what it is today. Right? And then, of course, you also see UAE, the ruler of Dubai, MBZ. He's come out on the streets and he's pacifying people. He went and had a cup of coffee in a mall yesterday. Okay. These are the pictures which they put out. And he is assuring people who visiting Dubai and everyone, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And he's also put his military thing into motion. And if you see the way Saudi has behaved and see the way UAE has behaved, UAE has been hit max by Iran.
Yep.
Right? But their reaction has been professional, military professional, government professional. But how to handle Iran is a different story because the larger story is still murky. I mean, in my entire thing in the Arab world, UAE is playing a very steady hand. Will Saudi Arabia come and play a heavy hand? We'll have to see. Or a steady hand? We'll have to see. Will both these countries get together and balance everything out? We'll have to see. Remember, why I'm saying all this is go back a few years back. Go back to West Asia, say, at the turn of the century or before, Saddam Hussein time. You had five countries which were big heavyweights in the Middle East. Turkey, Iraq, Iran, UAE, which was just coming up, and Saudis. Today, Turkey is virtually sidelined. It's there in one corner, yapping away to glory. Iran is now being destroyed. Iraq is being destroyed. So it leaves you with two countries, UAE and Saudi, which are on the pole position. And both these are at loggerheads with each other. Look at the picture of the Middle East, which is emerging. And in this Middle East cauldron, you have a Shia-Sunni divide, Sunni-Sunni divide, and a decadent Iran. Where does India get maximum oil from? This region. For us, this region is existential, more than Bangladesh, more than Pakistan. Okay. This is it. Yesterday, we started reducing supply to our industries because maximum gas of ours comes from Qatar. And Qatar has closed down its gas field yesterday. So this brings back the story of IMEC. For us, how important IMEC is. You see, this tells us the problem we are in. It also tells us where we are in a larger sense. If you see in the past 48 hours, our Prime Minister has shot off tweets to everyone. He's spoken to almost everyone in the Middle East. He's spoken to MBZ, MBS, Bahrain, Kuwait, everyone. And he's put out tweets in Urdu and all that. Urdu or Arabic. Qatar, everyone he's spoken to. Right? But nothing has gone to Iran. Because whom do you address in Iran? Is there a case for him to think? If he does that, what will be the repercussions? We'll have to war game all this. India has to start thinking. Because if all this is going to get cut, your industrial output, everything will start tanking. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it, you're in a bubble, safety bubble. It's not you only who will get hit. The whole world will get hit. China will get hit also. Okay? So, we'll have to see how this whole story goes forward. From an Indian perspective, After this, should you take a lead in getting into the Middle East politics and become a big man? You're a power. You're a huge power today. Everyone is looking at you. If we don't step up politically, you don't step up diplomatically, it's an opportunity lost. But you can't do that if you don't have a strong military. Indeed, it is not the current strength of the military which can defeat Pakistan or China. You need to have enough military to project. Do you have that? We don't have. So, the fact that we have not invested enough into our military will bite us going into the future. Because what you have to deploy and project ahead, you should have done 5-10 years back. It is not that you put money today that military will deliver tomorrow. It's that seed who doesn't grow fast. Even babies take 9 months to come up. So I think we've already made the mistake which I've been talking of for a long time, like a broken record. We'll have to pay for it. But at the same time, there is opportunity ahead. I'll leave it at that. Look at Pakistan. We'll again go over Pakistan. You know, they're talking, they don't know what they're talking, whether they should side with Israel and USA or side with Iran or side with Arabia. We don't know, they don't know. And they had a pact. Pakistan had a pact with KSA, isn't it? Mutual pact. Defense pact. We spoke of it. So what happens to that defense pact? Will Pakistan attack Iran after this? Because Iran is attacking Saudi Arabia. Already Iran has given a warning to Pakistan that you have allowed US forces to use your bases, that is Jiwani, Samungli and Pasni. So we're going to attack you. So will this war spread to Pakistan? If it spreads to Pakistan, what happens to China and USA? I'm giving a lot of murkiness which is going to come up next door to us. Right. I think we've finished 1 hour. I have another half an hour worth of talk on Trump's way of war. Would you like to finish it today and take this up some other day, or this thing? Your choice, Shreya. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Sir, I think we'll have to do this thing tomorrow. Why I say that?
Yeah,
because
fine.
We still have about 7 or 8 questions, and I have one update which will kind of tell the problem that India faces, because this is directly affecting India. I have a 2-minute shorts that I want to put out. I'll play that thing if you don't mind, sir.
We'll take this off. We'll take the presentation off. Yeah, please. Yeah.
And I'm going to play that one. Just give me 1 second. Developments today in the conflict between Israel/US and Iran. Strait of Hormuz, there's an update. What happened is that Iran said it would allow Chinese and Russian ships to go through, but not any other ship. Well, how did US respond? I have a small infographic to share with you. Do like this video and please share this thing widely. Here we go. The blockade. Iran has closed the world's most critical oil choke point to international shipping. And we are just showing you US, but basically what they have said is that except for China and Russia, any other ship will be blockaded. So what did US do? What the US said it will do is very interesting. What they said was, we have ordered the DFC to provide guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade. Basically, what that means is anybody who's finding it difficult to get insurance, because the Lloyds of London and many other insurance writers in England have stopped underwriting for vessels going through the Straits of Hormuz. What United States has said is that you can get it from us and we are going to give it to you for everybody who is applying. Not only that, it also has said that the United States will escort the stream of ships safely so that the shipments will resume immediately. So this was just 2 days of blockade, and now we are having a Cold War-like situation where the United States has apparently called the bluff of the Iranians. Mujtaba Khamenei is the new Ayatollah. He's the son of Ayatollah Khamenei, and this guy looks like he survived that blast that took place on the 28th of February. He has been named as the new supreme leader. In not long ago, he was trying to seek citizenship in Dubai with a $1.2 billion investment. So a lot of things going on. We will keep you posted. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was a good amplification of what we covered earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
All yours.
So will India be in that bandwagon, taking its LNG supplies from Qatar? So if that happens, then you can see how probably even Prime Minister Modi has modeled this thing in their mind. I mean, they know if the blockade happens, how do we need to respond? So there is all these little dynamics also with that are in play right now. Just wait and watch. India stock markets are taking a beating, but not so much for the United States. In the US, they seem to have gamed it for a few-day conflict, not a long-term conflict. So Iran is going to try and do as much as possible to stretch this thing out. So that's my one observation. The other observation is why regime change now? My observation there is they don't want anymore these religious heads to be also running big countries like Iran. It's a possibility that if they drive out all the Shia leadership, religious leadership from Iran, and let them go into, maybe to Pakistan or to some other place, don't give this kind of power is one of the things that they are thinking. I don't know. This is why I think that now Israel has a plan to get them out. This is what they want to do. We'll see.
Let me tell you. When we speak, we shouldn't give a wrong indication. You can't take all that out. Can you take Hinduism out of India?
Well,
no, I'm asking you.
This is what they're planning.
You can plan anything. We shouldn't say. Look, these are all fancy plans, and we shouldn't. I mean, my very clear thing is we shouldn't even be discussing it because it can't be done. If it could not be done for the past 50 years, we can do it out of question. And Israel doesn't have the capability to root it out. Israel doesn't have the capability to root out, all the mullahs from Iran. Israel doesn't have the population to do so. And for all this, you have to do all that. You need boots on ground. You have to take over that country and rebuild that country. And for that, USA has miserably failed in Vietnam and Afghanistan, and we have forgotten that. So, let's look at it from a reality prism. What USA can do and cannot do. Given whatever the outcomes, the political outcomes in Iran are going to be, whatever the cultural outcomes in Iran are going to be, whatever the religious outcomes will be the outcomes based on the military action. The military action is so far kinetic, non-contact. Unless you go into contact, all this can't be done. So we are looking at a very, very, very uncertain end to this whole story. Remember Iraq. Even in Iraq, USA spent a lot of time, came out, and what came out? ISIS. You destroyed the Revolutionary Guard Council then also of Saddam Hussein. They became ISIS. So you destroy this IRGC today, they'll become ISIS or something else. And they will be the mullahs. The mullah and the ISIS lot will now start functioning, as a ISIS force. So there's a bigger danger in all this, which I think many people have not understood. You have to
the more I think about what you said about can you take Hinduism out of India, Islam is a forced religion on Iran, just like Islam is a forced religion on India. The only difference is, so hear me out. I know a lot of Persians. Maybe they are the ones who are disgruntled and they have left and come outside. Islam is in name only in Iran. Not everybody goes to church, to mosque on Friday prayers and things of that nature. Iran is a little bit still more Zoroastrianic in its mind.
Well,
So I'm just wanted to point that out.
no, you might point it out, sir. You should look. I'm a military man. I look at hard figures. The hard figures suggest that there are a whole lot of people, even in Lucknow, who are beating their chest for Ali Khamenei's death. If that
Right.
can happen, that can happen in Srinagar. It can happen in Ladakh, in Kargil. It can happen in Lucknow. It can happen in Hyderabad. It can happen in Kerala. Then we are looking at something different. Please understand. Look at what's happening in Pakistan. Then you'll understand what can happen in Iran. Let's not live under any doubt that this is not going to. We are going to discuss this issue for the next 1 year, and after that you will say the end is not there. We have entered a tunnel. Agree to that. I mean, I won't say agree to that. Please realize it. We're going to be discussing that for a long time to come. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. We'll see things playing out. The military part will get over. The other things will get continuing. Yeah, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, SKB9134, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Anil Lakshmichan, for becoming a YouTube member. Sajid Kumar, thank you so much for your generous donation. Can USA and Israel keep the Hormoz Straits open? What if an odd DF missile is fired?
That's part of the risk. It will go through. Yeah. And one more thing, you please understand that DF missile or whatever you call it, I don't know where you get this word DF missile. You can't fire at short ranges. Some of these long range weapon systems, you can't fire at short ranges. Okay. And my guess is, you see, again, from a military perspective, if you want to keep Strait of Hormuz open, you have to put boots on ground. You have to, the northern bank of the Strait of Hormuz, you have to secure. So who will do that is to be seen. It's nice to say for
boots on ground. That will be the first boots on ground, I think.
The goal will be to keep Strait of Hormuz open. You'll have to secure the northern bank of the Strait of Hormuz, at least 30-40 kilometers in, clear that area. Just by aircraft, you can't do that. See, the Strait of Hormuz is just about 30 kilometers wide. You can put a couple of drones on the northern bank and clear, block it. So there are issues in this. It's easier said than done. Let's see.
Interesting question. I'm not sure whether you conduct the program standing throughout. If this is so, why don't you conduct the program sitting throughout? I like to stand and deliver. Let me put it that way. Thanks for asking the question. Vignesh, thank you so much. Shias have a strong feeling of unity under siege after Battle of Karbala. Do you see risks in US cities with sleeper cells of sorts activating?
You'll have to answer that question. What's happening in USA?
Actually, US faces so many troubles. Everybody can have a gun. And anybody on a given day, Satkela, they go and shoot somebody. It's a bigger problem, but I don't think, the Shias, that will be a one-off incident. I don't think that's going to happen. There are bigger problems that are happening. The extradition effort is in full swing. And that's where you need to really look at. And the Democrats are having a bad time right now. Just watch for a few more days. They thought Epstein will embarrass Trump, but actually it is the Clintons who are getting embarrassed right now. It's politics. Let's go. Let's put it that way. Cosmic Season, thank you so much. USA using diplomacy as distraction is disgusting.
Well, right.
So that brings us to a close of today's program. We will take up the Trump's war doctrine maybe tomorrow. If nothing else happens, we will let you know. Tomorrow morning, you will wake up to Good Morning India will be about something around this. And thank you so much, General Shankar. We may not have exact, alignment in many of these things, but that's okay. Intellectuals are not going to agree on everything.
No. And difference of opinion is good. It's good.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, if you can smile it out, it's better. Because we are different people and different ideas and different everything. So we must have.
Yes.
And we bring different experiences to the table. Right?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Look, I can also understand. See, many of you who are watching this have not functioned on ground in such situations. Old coot like me who's functioned on ground in Punjab at the height of Khalistan, movement. Khalistan movement is also full of ideology. That's one ideology. Who functioned in J&K again at ground level, a different ideology. And I've seen the problem in Kashmir grow from germination to the top. And of course, the last thing, the Northeast, where ideologies are completely different. So one understands what is happening. That's all. I'm putting just my experience of on ground dealing with insurgencies and such movements and ideologies and all that in multi-religious societies where the fault lines are between two streets, and how you handle that. And you need boots on ground for that. Air power doesn't work. Just doesn't work, right? So these things and so difference of opinion and different experiences makes this program richer. Let's put it that way. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Again, we'll be back tomorrow twice, as a matter of fact. Good morning, India, as well as Three Good Generals. Looking forward to seeing you all then. Namaskar, sir. Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you.